I know I'm not criminal. Trump, I'm scared a little bit because of his deportation, and he's not really friendly with immigrants.
No justice! What we normalize today and don't stand against today is a clear signal to the people in the future of what we're willing to put up with. So just draw the line now, draw the line here, right?
Hello, you're watching Hindustan Times and my name is Aisha Varma. The land of the free and the home of the brave. America relishes this perspective of the country. But critics say the Trump administration's moves threaten this basic characteristic of the United States of America. Protests that erupted against ICE or the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement are now slowly but surely spreading to several other parts of the country. In this episode of HT In Depth, we ask the following questions. Why is Los Angeles burning? Is politics fueling anti-ICE protests? Will Trump invoke the Insurrection Act? During his last term in office, one of Trump's key moves was nominating Supreme Court judges that led to a conservative majority. This subsequently led to the overturning of Roe versus Wade, essentially eliminating federal abortion rights and setting women in America back almost half a century. This time, Trump's focus seems to be on illegal immigrants. The first 100 days of his presidency have been defined by over 200,000 deportations, as claimed by the Trump administration. And at the center of the drive is ICE, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Now, ICE has operated the highest level of deportation flights so far. Illegal immigrants were flown back to their home countries, like Peru, El Salvador, and Colombia as well. But let's fast forward to this week and put the spotlight on Los Angeles. Trump gave orders for aggressive immigration raids. ICE agents executed federal search warrants at multiple businesses that were suspected of employing undocumented migrants or falsifying employment records. The news of these raids spread like wildfire. Family members, activists, and labor leaders gathered at the raid sites to protest against the Trump administration's aggressive tactics. Additionally, there have been images of federal immigration agents wearing masks and balaclavas as they conduct raids in Los Angeles and other U.S. cities. This has ignited a politically charged debate over whether they're protecting their identities or engaging in intimidation tactics.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. That, in fact, is the law.
Now, this led to protesters blocking ICE vehicles while demanding that they end the raids, claiming that communities are being destabilized and terrorized. As protests escalated, President Donald Trump, on June 7th, signed a presidential memorandum authorizing the deployment of 2,000 National Guard members to Los Angeles. This marked the very first time a president has mobilized a state's National Guard without a governor's consent since 1965.
Trump is, he's trying to characterize us as rioters and looters when really we're all out here with signs just trying to say this is wrong and this is our community. And the National Guard is just him trying to escalate it, but we're not going to let him do that. And that's why I'm here.
It could get worse if we don't come out and fight. If we don't come out and show that we are willing to stand up for our rights, stand up for our First Amendment rights, stand up for the rights of immigrants, the rights of people to be able to work, to be able to live, to create a life for their families here. If we don't stand up for that, it could get worse. But as you can see out here today, people are willing to stand up and fight back.
This provocation of having ICE agents lie to people, of having them actually set up court dates that people went to in good faith, thinking that they're following the rules. And then what happens is that they're arrested by these masked, frankly, thugs.
Soon, 22 Democratic governors released a joint statement calling Trump's decision to deploy the National Guard an alarming abuse of power. On June 9th, U.S. military officials confirmed that 700 members of the 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines, at 29 Palms, California, are being deployed to Los Angeles. California Governor Gavin Newsom filed an emergency motion to block Trump's illegal deployment of Marines and National Guard in Los Angeles, alleging that Trump is turning America's military against its citizens.
Trump is pulling a military dragnet all across Los Angeles, well beyond his stated intent to just go after violent and serious criminals. His agents are arresting dishwashers, gardeners, day laborers, and seamstresses. That's just weakness masquerading as strength. Donald Trump's government isn't protecting our communities, they're traumatizing our communities. And that seems to be the entire point. California will keep fighting. It will keep fighting on behalf of our people, all of our people, including in the courts. Just yesterday, we filed a legal challenge to Donald Trump's reckless deployment of American troops to a major American city. Today, we sought an emergency court order to stop the use of the American military to engage in law enforcement activities across Los Angeles.
I want to say a few words about the situation in Los Angeles, California. Have you heard of the place? Where I've deployed thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines to protect federal law enforcement from the attacks of a vicious and violent mob. And some of the radical left, they say, oh, that's not nice. Well, if we didn't do it, there wouldn't be a Los Angeles. It'd be burning today, just like their houses were burning a number of months ago. Generations of Army heroes did not shed their blood on distant shores only to watch our country be destroyed by invasion and third world lawlessness here at home, like is happening in California. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not let that happen. It's never going to happen. What you're witnessing in California is a full-blown assault on peace, on public order, and on national sovereignty carried out by rioters bearing foreign flags with the aim of continuing a foreign invasion of our country. We're not going to let that happen.
But it doesn't end there. Los Angeles may even see the Insurrection Act get invoked. The rarely used 1807 law authorizes the president to deploy military forces inside the United States to suppress rebellion or domestic violence, or to enforce the law in certain situations.
If there's an insurrection, I would certainly invoke it. We'll see. But I can tell you last night was terrible. The night before that was terrible.
And now, protests are spreading to other parts of the United States. New York. Thousands rallied in Lower Manhattan's Foley Square and outside ICE headquarters. At least 40-plus protesters were arrested as marches blocked traffic, and demonstrators demanded an end to deportations, chanting slogans like "ICE out of New York." Some were even led away in zip ties. Washington, D.C. Hundreds gathered outside of the Department of Justice and in Columbia Heights, organized by unions and immigrant advocates to protest ICE raids and the arrest of union leader David Huerta, marching with signs like "Stop ICE raids now" and calling for an end to mass deportations. Boston. Hundreds, including city councilors and union members, protested at City Hall and Circle Plaza, condemning ICE raids and Huerta's arrest. Speakers decried the use of force against protesters and called ICE tactics violent repression and secret police. Dallas. A large anti-ICE protest near the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge saw hundreds demanding an end to ICE raids, with tensions flaring as some protesters threw objects at police, resulting in one arrest and plans for further demonstrations at City Hall. Chicago, the Windy City. Thousands marched peacefully in the Loop, temporarily disrupting traffic and gathering outside immigration courts to oppose Trump's immigration crackdown, with a few arrests reported and city leaders reaffirming Chicago's sanctuary status. Atlanta. Hundreds lined Beaufort Highway in Brookhaven to protest recent ICE raids and deportations, sharing stories of families separated and criticizing the militarization of federal agencies, with at least one person arrested for blocking the roadway. San Francisco. Hundreds protested outside of the Immigration Services building, and after a tense standoff with police, over 100 people were arrested as the demonstration turned violent, resulting in vandalism, injuries to officers, and city officials warning against further violence. With the fight between anti-ICE protesters and the Trump administration escalating, the big question is, who will blink first?